2, 1.
If you're shopping in this universe, you've now got another option to consider, the Ram Rebel GT. In this video, we're testing it out, getting you up close and personal with its best and worst features and answering your most common questions. So let's get moving.
In Northern Ontario, we love our trucks, and given the number of Tremors, ZR2s, TRDs, and TRXs on our roads and trails, it seems like the segment's increasing variety of specialty models are getting plenty of shoppers to dig deep into their wallets. The Ram 1500 Rebel adds unique interior and exterior styling touches to the standard truck, packs a suspension lift, 5.7-liter HEMI V8 with 395 horsepower, and includes beefier Goodyear Wrangler rubber, which gives drivers less to worry about over rough, slippery, or tire-threatening terrain. There's also an electronic locking rear axle for added bite and traction when the going gets sloppy, and a more muscular and menacing appearance to tie it all together. So, compared to the standard Ram 1500, the Rebel is a sport truck, a visually and hardware-enhanced variant that's built to shine when used as a weekend plaything for bashing around in the bush. It's no wonder a third of Sudbury, Ontario drives these things. Is the new Ram Rebel GT package worth it? Well, for the enthusiast driver, almost definitely. The $3,495 GT package builds on your Rebel, adding some serious athletic flair via hardware and visuals. Call up performance pages and you've got access to the same electronic performance monitoring toolkit that you'll find in an SRT Charger.
So some sporty signals right here, right? Most of this cabin is dark, but we've got the red Ram logo up there, nice and prominent. These great big metal shift paddles right here behind the steering wheel on each side. So you can take that as some strong signaling to the driver that this is kind of a sports car you climb into. So big multi-function display screen right there in the middle of the instrument cluster. And we've got controls here on the steering wheel to manipulate what's showing up in there. There's a lot of information this truck can show you. And just with these 4 buttons here on the steering wheel and the little OK button there in the middle, it's easy to toggle through all of that and control exactly what you want to keep an eye on. Central infotainment right here. Let me get you right up close there for a look at the graphics. Nice and sharp. Nice glossy screen to that. It mitigates the glare fairly nicely. We'll come out here and you can see exactly how tall this is. That screen goes all the way down here. There's my hand for reference, right? So we've got a lot of screen space here. In the top, I've got the Android Auto going. And just come back out there to the main screen for Android Auto. And on that lower half of the screen, we can control different widgets and functions that we want to be down here. So a big, beautiful display screen, easy to set this up to see whatever information you want, or as much or as little information as you want. 4-wheel drive control system right down here. So at the push of a button, we've got 4-wheel drive auto, which is like all-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive high, 4-wheel drive low if we need it, 2-wheel drive right there. Turn the auto stop function on and off with this button if we like. Downhill assist right here, and axle lock for that rear axle if you need it. We press this, and we get a little message up there in the instrument cluster showing us that that rear axle is now mechanically bound together. Now we've got charging ports like crazy. So we've got a storage cubby in here, nice deep bins on this center console. There are little clips here that'll hold your phone in place if you like. Lots of charging ports. There are 4 USB charging ports just right here, including USB-C. We've even got another one up here in this handy storage bin on top of the instrument cluster. Enough room right there for your sunglasses too. More storage in here, another charging port. And this is a double-decker deal, so we can grab the second handle. And we've got a nice deep bin in there. 2 additional cup holders back there, so that's 4 in total accessible from the driver's seat.
Pricing starts at $65,995 Canadian for a 2022 model year, with my Tester's GT package tacking another $3,495 onto the bill for a total of $69,490.
So let me show you how this eTorque system works and what the hardware that powers it looks like. Yep. Now we can't see the entire assembly because this truck has a cold air intake system up on top. But if we look down here at this belt-driven device, right there, I'm not going to get my finger too close. What you'll see is that looks kind of like an alternator and does pretty much the same job. It generates electricity as you drive around, although that's much bigger than a standard alternator. The idea is it makes a surplus of power That gets stored in a suitcase-sized battery behind the rear seats and the rear firewall. So the power generated from the eTorque system is stored in that rear-mounted battery where it can be used later to send power to the eTorque system, which helps boost the engine. So although this device is generating electricity as you drive around, it also has the ability to apply that electricity directly to the engine's crankshaft. So what we're looking at here is basically a device that has the jobs of both an alternator and an electric motor, either generating and storing electricity or applying it directly to the engine's crankshaft, depending on the type of driving you're doing. So key benefits of this mild hybrid system are improved throttle response at low revs, much quicker and smoother engine start-stop functionality, improved low-end torque, and improved fuel efficiency. The average driver will save about $700 per year on fuel, making the break-even point on this $1,195 option something like under 2 years, and you'll save even more fuel and see a faster payback if you're doing primarily city or stop-and-go driving.
When taking off from a stop, the MGU can apply up to 130 pounds of torque to the crankshaft for instant engine restarting, apply a 16 horsepower boost from the first half rotation of the wheels, and then electrically motor up the HEMI engine to a speed where it smoothly and seamlessly becomes the primary mover of the truck. So is eTorque worth it?
Well, to answer that question, we need a math lesson.
The eTorque system costs $1,195, and according to NRCan's fuel consumption guide, it'll save 2.7 liters of fuel for every 100 kilometers of city driving compared to the same truck without the system. So if you drive 20,000 kilometers per year exclusively in the city, your annual fuel savings are about $864. Drive that same distance every year exclusively on the highway, and your annual fuel savings are $480. So all said, expect a payback period of about 1.5 to 3 years on your investment in the system.
And don't forget, it's also smoother, and it's quicker, and it's more responsive.
The Rebel GT's interior might be one of its very strongest assets. From a quick glance, the subdued color and trim palette gives the cabin a focused, personal look that's more formal than flashy, while strategic deployment of sculpting, layering, and playful intersecting of shapes dials up the visual flair and premium appearance when drivers take a closer look at their surroundings. The black and silver color scheme in my tester worked nicely to set off a tidy but detailed atmosphere that reminds me of some of my favorite sports coupes. It's a serious and focused place that looks high-end without shouting for attention. Subtle red accents and stitching work to draw the driver's attention to key elements of the cockpit, while the extended use of gloss finishes and a giant vertical touchscreen infotainment system let plenty of high-tech appeal shine through the mostly dark scenery, with those metal paddles and pedals always gleaming away in the background. This exhaust will wake neighbors and newborns, and they'll definitely know when you get home from work. Dig in deeper to the throttle to see the Rebel GT's best work. Though the sports exhaust system makes itself known under even light throttle, a heavier poke on the loud pedal sees an immediate and pleasing swelling of the growling soundtrack which follows the GT around. The news is mostly good during highway cruising. I noted no complaints with cabin noise levels, even on the beefy tires. The ride is relatively gentle and laid back, and the driving position is tall and commanding, with plenty of glass for a great outward view. Though certain bumps and dips can cause an occasional abrupt whack from beneath the vehicle, or even send the rear end for a bit of a ride in extreme situations, I would tell you the overall feeling beneath the driver is tough, solid, composed, and confidence-inspiring. On smooth highways, ride quality seems nearly luxury SUV-like. Still, I did leave my tester wishing for a little more precision feel to the steering and brakes. These controls are easy to work smoothly, but some drivers may find they feel fairly lazy and vague. Small steering and braking inputs get little response from the truck, making their use more labor-intensive for your hands and feet. There's no problem with response from the throttle pedal, but the steering and brakes just lack that sporty enthusiasm, making this a sport truck more in power and looks than feel at the controls. For those who prefer a more direct and precise steering and brake pedal feel, a comparable Toyota Tundra might make a better choice. One of my favorite activities is using the secondary roads, back roads, and trails of Sudbury, Ontario as a bit of a shake, rattle, and roll test for pickup trucks, where I learn which ones do the best job of handling busted up terrain without destroying ride comfort. Solid job from the Rebel GT. Road and suspension noise are present but nicely managed when the going gets rough. The steering transmits almost no negative feedback or pulling to my fingertips. The suspension feels tough and durable while taking abuse from beneath. It feels solid, but with a slight around-the-edges softness that keeps things more easygoing than I was expecting. These same roads had me wishing for a more comfortable and less jarring ride in the F-150 Tremor, but they coaxed little drama from the Rebel GT, and if you do a lot of driving on rougher surfaces, I think you'll find the Ram to deliver the more comfortable drive. So the Ram Rebel GT is an in-your-face off-roader with a wide array of sport truck add-ons that'll quickly draw enthusiasts in for a closer look. Your fuel dollars are rewarded with perpetual access to a fantastic soundtrack and pleasing on-demand torque from a smooth and punchy driveline that's always ready to play. Ditto the suspension, it's consistently comfortable almost all of the time, and feels particularly encouraging and friendly when you're covering rough ground at speed in the bush. A tough and solid feel nicely coexists with ride comfort here. Still, though the soundtrack style and cabin serve up a sporty recipe, enthusiast drivers will likely wish for a higher precision feel to the brakes and steering. Though it's not the sharpest where reflexes are concerned, the Rebel GT effectively uses its many other talents to put on a hell of a show for its driver.
I'm Justin Pritchard. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below if you learned something new. And until next time, take care and drive safe.